Pagans or heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make...
Alright guys, another video. This one's going to be a short one. We're going to cover some of the knots we use, and maybe we can get it done with some of the paracord and stuff. So we'll sit down and we'll go over that. So the first knot in our series of knots here that we use is going to be a snail knot. Now, snail knots we use if we are, you know, using a flipping hook with a straight shank. Anything with a straight shank is what we use. And a lot of times you're either going to find, like when we're using our trout fishing stuff, you know, it might be angled. Now if this eye is angled from the hook, go ahead and enter it in where it's going to be a straight shot to the shank. Now otherwise, the best way to get an idea is if you go down the hook and the point was to come up, that's where you want to enter from. You want to enter on the point side. So you'll come in, and after you come in that way, you'll want to pinch it down here with your thumb. Go through here and wrap. May want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most generally I'll at least do 5. Sometimes I like to do 7, but most generally I try to at least get 5 in. Okay, and after that you're going to slide this up, and that's about what it's going to look like. And you're going to clip your tag in here, so it'll be pretty simple. You just cut it right there. Now what's going to happen is that shank is going to be sticking back like this, so that's going to be your point still. And what's going to happen is when you pull, automatically when you pull this, it's going to pull that hook into the fish. So flipping, anything like that, when they bite, it's just instant. All they're getting is all the pull force to the hook. And a lot of our trout fishing stuff like that, that's the way we're tying that snail knot. And a lot of people don't know how we tie our snail knot. And there might be other ways, better ways to tie it, but this is how we tie it. Knot number 2, Palmer knot. So the Palmer knot, it's pretty simple. You'll run the line through the eye of the hook, give yourself some room, and then run it back through the same way you came so that the line is doubled. And what's going to go on here is once the line's doubled, you'll just do a regular overhand knot. Pull that through. Everybody see that there? So then what you're going to do is bring that loop and bring the whole bait, everything, whatever you're using, back through that loop, and then pull it back up here. And then what you're going to do is just pull it tight, and it's going to be a little bit tougher to do considering that we got this paracord, but you're going to pull it tight. Make sure fluorocarbon, stuff like that, you know, you might wet that knot a little bit, but you can see that it actually puts 2 different sets of line on the eye there, and it gives you a little bit more strength. Now, I haven't ever really broke a knot, and what I mean by that is if you guys have ever tied any kind of knot, stuff like that, and you break off and you look at the end of your line, if it's real like twirled up, 9 times out of 10 that broken your knot. Your knot's just not going to look like a pigtail for no reason. So if your line is looking that way, then you better start tying a different knot. Palmer knot, usually when my line breaks, it's in the line somewhere. It's where I've neglected it, where I've been working a jig through the rocks here, or Texas rig in the rocks a lot of times. Knot number 3. So the knot number 3, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is called the uni knot. So what you'll do is you're going to put line through the eye of the hook and then bring it back. Okay, so once you get that line there, you're going to leave yourself a little slack, and this is the kind of part that you got to watch. So you're going to take the tag end of your line and make another loop. You see what we got going on now. So we went through the eye of the hook, and then we've made a loop. So once you make your loop, you'll grab it so you can hold it, and then you'll wrap the inside of the loop here. Now a lot of times I'll try to go at least 5 to 7, somewhere in that area. So now we'll go ahead and wrap it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got ourselves a little short on our tag end for the paracord here. So the next thing you want to do is pull this and tighten this knot up. Not real tight, but kind of snug. And a lot of times you're using fluorocarbon, you might wet this part of the line, you know, wet this knot as you're kind of cinching up, but like I said, don't pull it tight. We'll wet this part of the line using fluorocarbon, and then this will just slide right down to the the eye of the hook, and you guys are game. You see how that thing just got tight, and it's not going anywhere. So one thing I do want to cover while we're on this, pulling it kind of snug. Anytime you guys tighten these knots, just kind of snug them up, pull them tight, you know. You ain't got to just bear down and, you know, like 300 pound, 250 pound muscle man and put all, you know, make your knot weak before you even start. So keep that in mind. So I'm pretty sure that's called the uni knot. So we'll get this undone, show you the next one. Okay, so knot number 4. Knot number 4 is something you guys have heard me refer to, and that's been our braid to you know, fluoro knot or braid to mono. And you know, more recently I've started to use mono in our leaders because you've already got a ton of sensitivity using braid. So how we're connecting them is we're going to call this my left, your right, the braid side, and then my right, your left, just the fishing line side. So what's going to happen is you're going to come in with your braid and your fishing line. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which one you start with first, but you want to have them go past each other like so. So what I'll do is just like we did that uni knot earlier, we'll make that loop. Okay, make that loop in there like we did tying the uni knot earlier, because that's what this is. So if you're using smaller line, I will try to get away with less loops if possible. So once it's just going to be the same concept as doing that uni knot. So like I said, here's the line coming out, here's where we made our loop. So we'll go in here, 2, 3, and we're going to snug it down. Not tight, snug. Once you get that done, you'll come to your other side and do the same concept here. Okay, do your uni knot on this side. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna get over here where we can tighten it up a little bit. You'll pull that tight, pull it snug. I'm sorry, pull that snug. So you're gonna have braid on this side, your fishing line on this side. Once you get this part done, especially if you're using fluorocarbon, make sure and wet this part of the line, wet your knots while you're doing it, cut down on the friction, and then you'll just pull them together. Now watch what this knot does whenever I apply pressure and I kind of snug them up. So you see what happened there. That thing, that is a good knot. It's tied together. It's going to hold. Okay, so as long as the fishing line side is going to hold up, that knot's going to hold up. Alright, and what I'll do is, now this is one of the only times that I go on to tell you guys to trim down the tag ends really close to knot. Most generally I say leave a little bit out, but on this one I would want to cut this close to the knot as possible. Okay, on both sides. And I'm fixing to tell you why. And I know you guys have seen in recent videos where I'm telling you guys when you connect these, braid likes to slip, put super glue on them. This is the time that you use that trick. Okay, so cut them close, make sure you kind of snug them up pretty good, trim the tag ends as much off as you can, and then take super glue and get on that knot as good as you can. So use the gel super glue by Loctite, whatever. You might use it, go down this side a little bit, go on this side, make sure and rub it throughout the knot. And that knot's going to hold up and it's going to catch you a lot of fish. And that gives you the opportunity to fish that braid and have fishing line on the other end. Now that doesn't necessarily have to be a spinning rod that you do this braid to leader on. You can do it, I mean, I know it's starting to pick up a lot more people starting to use it with their regular casting reels. So we'll go to the next knot. Okay, so this is the 5th knot. 5th knot is a knot that I showed you guys, but I had like I had 4-pound test, and it was really hard to see what was going on. So this was called the perfection loop. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a loop. You're going to put the line on the back side. Okay, so get the main line to you and then the tag line on the back side. Hold that there. The next loop goes in front of the main line, just like so. So the first one behind, second one goes on front, and then you'll hold them right there. So that's what you should have, a bigger loop and then a smaller loop. Now you're going to have the tag line coming out to your right side again. The next thing you do is use your tag line to separate the small loop and the big loop. Okay, so put that in between them. You're not making any more loops, you're just splitting loops. Reach in through your bigger loop, pull the small one, like so. You can cut your tag end off, and that knot right there is what they call a perfection loop. Now this loop works pretty good when anything we're doing with trout fishing, and I know you guys was seeing where we was tying our, we would snail knot our hooks over here on this end, use a perfection loop over here, and that's where we was actually using our snap swivels to, if something happened and we broke off, then we had to loop that we could just run the snap swivel through and take off again. It just really saved a lot of time off instead of having to stand there and tie new rigs or retie our hook on. So maybe that'll help you out. Alright, that concludes all our knots. Alright guys, so that's the end of the knot tying video. That's not saying that's the only knots out here. That's just the knots we use. A lot of times we like stuff that's fast and strong, so that's kind of a kind of in between on the knots we use. And we've used some of the trout stuff as far as the perfection loop, snail knot, and you know, we use a snail knot on our flipping as well. So I mean, just keep that in mind. Now any of these knots, guys, I encourage you to get out there, tie these knots, and you know, pull on the line and see where it breaks. See how much force you can put on it. Main thing is practice. Make sure you get a good knot. Make sure you're not burning the line if you're using fluorocarbon, because that will come back and get you, I promise. You can tie the best knot in the world, but if you're using that, a lot of friction in there, a lot of force, that's things will come back and get you in the end. So you new guys, stick with mono for a little while. I promise you it ain't that much difference. Tie your knot, stick with it. You guys see knots that, you know, we didn't tie that you think's really good knots, you think's better knots, jump down there in the comments. I'm telling you, get right down there and let us know. We're not afraid of it. I mean, we're all open. We're trying to teach each other. That's what this whole channel's about. So get down there and, you know, say, hey, this is a great knot. I've had good, whatever. So you guys make sure and subscribe right down there. Help us out. Get on Facebook. We got some giveaways coming up, but the first thing we got to get some more subs first. But we're going to try to have a $50 value on our jigs. So don't miss out on that, guys. But we got to make sure we're going to try to get up at least 200, then we're going to go from there. So we'll see you guys on the next one.